Erend? You okay?
Huh? Oh, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I be?
Because there's two of me now.
Right, there's two of you now! Well, at least you seem to be handling it okay.
I wouldn't say that exactly, but I'm trying. I guess you know what we're up against by now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When Varl first told me those bastards come from the stars, I thought he'd eaten too many of those medicinal berries. Yeah, but I've gotten used to seeing impossible things, thanks to you. I just wish they weren't always trying to kill us.
Yeah, you and me both. Did you speak with Beta at all?
She didn't really wake up till we brought her here. And when she did, I thought it'd be better if Zoe and Varl took care of her. No use crowding someone when they're in a state.
How are you settling in?
Yeah, Varl's been helping me get the lay of the land, when he's not getting all tongue-tied. I don't know who makes him more nervous, that Gaia lady or our new Utaru friend.
Well, what about the Vanguard? Aren't you supposed to be back east, ordering them around?
I sent some of them back to Meridian with a message. I doubt Avad will mind me sticking around to help the savior of Meridian.
So, you've met our new Tanakh friend.
He's, quiet. I thought his people were supposed to be bloodthirsty maniacs.
You shouldn't believe everything you hear.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you trust him, so do I.
I see Varl gave you a focus.
Well, it doesn't look as fashionable on me, but by the Forge, the things I've been able to see. Granted, a lot of them are bad, you know, the old world ending and such. I'm still trying to wrap my head around most of it, but I never really understood how you were ever able to find my sister back in the Sundom. And now I do, sort of. It makes me feel like I could be useful, you know?
It takes some time, but yeah. What are you working on with your focus?
I'm still figuring out how to read stuff on this thing. Those two lovebirds over there have been giving me a hand. But to be honest, all the little symbols, they give me a headache. But I'll get up to speed, I promise.
What you reading next?
I saw Gaia added something to the archives about metal rods being used to harness lightning during storms. That reminded me of a cousin of mine. Thought he could trap lightning if he covered himself in Stormbird plates. Went up the tallest mountain in the claim to prove it. It ended like a lot of Oseram things do. With a spark and a boom.
I have to get going.
Don't go causing too much trouble.
Hey, you and Erend okay?
Nothing some rest can't take care of. Are you okay? This beta thing, it's a lot. Even for you.
Just trying to take it one step at a time.
Fair enough. But if you need anything, just let me know.
So, training with Zoe, huh?
Yes, training. Mostly. Look, she reads glyphs faster than I can already. I'd be a fool to refuse her help.
Of course. You guys reading something over there?
We just finished going through all the logs you collected back in Nora territory, and All Mother Mountain. It's hard to imagine that my ancestors were trapped inside, without the knowledge from Apollo to guide them.
Thanks to Ted Faro.
Yeah. I wonder how it must have felt when they were finally free. The world must have seemed so beautiful.
Not to mention terrifying. They weren't much more than kids.
And they became an entire tribe.
It's good to see you and Zoe enjoying yourselves.
We're learning a lot. I've actually been looking through the data to find ideas for a gift, and to thank her for helping me study the glyphs. Something from the old world that she's never seen before. Instead, I found out they gave each other stuffed animals. If you ask me, stuffing a dead animal with anything, really, doesn't sound like a good time for anybody.
Maybe Gaia can help you find something else. It's good to see you and Zoe enjoying yourselves.
We're learning a lot. I've actually been looking to thank her. Something from the... Instead, if you ask me anything...
Maybe Gaia... How's everyone dealing with Beta?
I tried explaining what a clone is to Aaron. He was totally lost. Then Zoe said something about 2 trees coming from 1 seed. That seemed to help a bit.
I'm guessing you've spoken with Kotallo?
I wanted to pay my respects for those who fell when we were ambushed at the embassy. Told him I'd never seen anyone throw themselves at a machine like he did. He said a warrior shouldn't be praised for fulfilling their duty. For a second, I thought I was talking to my mother. Never thought a Tenakth and a Nora war chief could have so much in common.
I should get back to the wilds.
I'll keep an eye on Beta. Make sure she's comfortable.
Okay. Do you have a moment?
Of course.
How's everyone handling their focus?
And we all have our difficult moments. Aaron definitely curses the most. But I'm hoping Oseram's stubbornness prevails.
How's everyone doing?
Just taking it all in. No one snapped their bowstrings yet.
I see everyone settling in.
Zoe's planning on bringing all kinds of plants in here. Says a home should always spring with life anew. I asked Aaron to help find some. I think he'd rather stick his head into a snap mall.
Still, it's not a bad idea. Should liven up the place. Looks like I was wrong about the Zeniths. Their ship didn't explode on its way to Sirius like everyone thought.
And we saw how they lied about creating a better future at their launch facility. Guess they lied about what happened to their ship, too. But still, the tribe settling amongst the stars.
I couldn't put a single dent in their shields, Varl. That one Zenith almost killed me.
That didn't stop you from resurrecting Gaia. Won't stop us from using Hephaestus against them.
Let's hope that's enough. I should head out.
I'll go back to my training.
Aloy, there are more supplies in the chest. Help yourself. Aloy,
Hey, thought I'd, check in on how you're doing.
you mean after meeting someone who looks exactly like you, but isn't you, down in the basement? Guess this must be even stranger for you than it is for us, huh?
A little.
Varl said she may be able to help us in our mission, though.
Maybe. You've spoken with Kotallo?
A few words. Tenakth don't have much use for us outsiders. You must have made quite the impression for him to offer his fealty.
So you've been talking to Gaia?
Yes. She was kind enough to take me through some of the history of the Old Ones, including their demise and the heroic actions of her creator, Elizabeth Sobek. I was surprised to see she was you. Past, but reborn? Not that I claim to understand how.
You said you met Beta?
Varl mentioned she was hurt. I thought I'd offer her an extract to soothe the pain.
That was kind of you.
I just hope she doesn't plan on staying burrowed down there like that. She looks like she's barely seen the light of day as it is.
What are you up to?
Gaia was kind enough to put together a list of glyphs used by the Old Ones. She helped me decipher some of the data you've collected, and showed me how to use the focus to help the process. It's not easy, but it's been working so far.
That's good to hear. I see you've settled in.
Gaia did say this place was built for us, so we could regain control of our lands with her terraforming system. Nurture them like the land gods do Plainsong's fields. It does strike me as odd that a place of life should have so much metal.
What else have you been up to?
I've been studying Gaia's seedlings, the subfunctions. I wanted to understand why one of them would do what they did to Fa. Imagine my surprise when I looked into this Hephaestus and found out it helped create all machines, our land gods included. In a way, the Utaru owe Hephaestus our whole way of life, as well as our current troubles.
That's why we have to make Gaia whole again. Learn anything interesting lately?
There's been much to read up on now that Aether has been reunited with Gaia. It's hard to imagine that machines like Stormbirds once helped heal the skies. I used to be terrified of them as a child. Thunder still brings chills to my skin. But everything Gaia creates has a purpose, no?
Yeah. And if we can get Hephaestus back, she can get those Stormbirds in line. Did Gaia tell you anything about the Zeniths?
She did. Though it wasn't exactly easy to believe. To think that there are places among the stars where life can bloom as it does here. It is humbling, to say the least. And heartbreaking, that such life should be bent on destroying ours.
I've been meaning to ask, what's the deal with you and the chorus? You didn't seem to be on the best of terms.
That's what happens when you're the one Utaru who insists on publicly defying them. Twice. When the Karja invaded the Utaru plains, they did more than just attack our villages. They burned our fields, took our people as slaves, and murdered those who were too weak to make the trip back to Meridian.
To be sacrificed in the Sun Ring.
I was helping the healers back then, as waves of refugees swarmed into Plainsong. The chorus was divided in how to face the invaders. Some saw sense in raising arms. Others believed the dishes would keep us safe, as they had many times before. And while they bickered, I buried the seeds of the fallen.
It couldn't have been easy. Seeing your people suffer while the Karja invaded your lands.
I come from a small village near Plainsong. My grandmother used to say there was no seed that wouldn't grow there. I moved to the dishes when I decided to apprentice as a healer. When the Red Raids began, I thought about going back. But the injured kept pouring into Plainsong, day after day. So I kept putting it off. One day, I woke up to hear a Karja raiding party had ransacked my village during the night. I rushed there with the healers to help the survivors, but there weren't any left. The smell of burning flesh haunts me to this day.
I'm sorry, Zoe.
I made it a point to appear before the chorus as soon as we returned. to demand that we take a stand against the invaders. I was denied. So I left to fight on my own.
You said you set out to fight the Karja alone?
I did. But it turned out I wasn't the only one. News of my disagreement with the Chorus spread through the plains. Before I knew it, I had more than a dozen Utaru warriors ready to follow me into battle. We knew we couldn't take on the Karja armies head-on, but we also knew the lay of the land better than they did. We ambushed smaller raiding parties, sabotaged their supply lines, and hit their encampments at night.
Sounds like you were a force to be reckoned with.
Enough that the Tenakth took notice. When the clans began to push the Karja back east, they let us join their ranks. We chased the enemy all the way to Barren Light.
You said you were at Barren Light when the Tenakth defeated the Karja?
Tenakth marshals climbed the cliffs of the Daunt under cover of night, then attacked from the other side. Before we knew it, the gates were open, and the full force of the clans burst through. What happened next was not something I like to remember. When all the dust and blood settled, I smelled it again. The stench of burnt flesh. Our enemies defeated. What was left of my squad returned to the Utaru Plains. I went back to Plainsong. But even as the harvests passed, it didn't feel like I'd truly returned at all.
Is that when you became a grave singer?
I thought soothing the suffering of others would somehow appease my own. Then you came along and gave me a choice. I could either sing at people's graves or fight for a chance to keep them alive.
I'm glad you chose the latter. You called yourself a grave singer. What does that mean?
To all living things an end must come. It is my task to ease the passage. I try to bring comfort and sing of the renewal that death sows the way for.
I was hoping you could tell me more about the land gods.
For generations, they provided for us. Seeding and harvesting the fields of Plainsong. Food for all. A miracle of endless bounty. A blessed land, providing sustenance for my people. Until the derangement. They had always enriched the soil, but for several seasons they have glutted it endlessly with mulch. At least now I know why. The repair bay below was meant to renew them. Without it, they became sick. That is why I must find a way to heal them before my people starve.
So, how does a tribe like the Utaru manage to maintain the peace with warriors like the Tenakth?
By holding them off. When our fields bloomed aplenty, the Tenakth looked upon our lands with envy. But Plainsong's dishes provided sanctuary and high ground to keep invaders at bay. In the end, even the Tenakth saw sense in a truce. The Utaru promised to provide the Tenakth with food from our crops every year. In exchange, the Tenakth would relinquish one of their own, a veteran, to train the Utaru in combat. This custom was abandoned a few years after the derangement, but some veterans still remain in the plains.
I need to get going.
May the land bloom in your steps.
I just think she talks a lot.
You would too if you knew everything there is to know about
also crank out a whole army of machines to kick your sorry behind while she's fixed.
Well, I guess I just better stay on her good side then.